Good evening and welcome to the Norwood Trails Advisory Committee meeting of Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. Thank you for dialing in. Thank you, members, for joining us. By way of a roll call, we're going to go around the table and if you could enter and sign in just for attendance purposes. I'm going to get out my non-alphabetic list here. Brian Palmetier.
Here.
Marguerite.
Here.
Patty Austin.
Here.
Greg Austin.
Present.
Present. Thank you. Jerry Miller.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Vic.
Here.
Kate.
Here.
I am Joe Greeley. I'm here. Is anyone else? Did I miss anyone else?
Hey, Joe, it's Roy.
Roy, thank you.
You
Please,
back
thank you.
again, Roy?
Vic, can we take this offline, please?
We're not
Little
even
humor for everyone.
We're not even 2 minutes into this, and we're holding the seat for Marsha. She is, I believe she was giving blood, but she will join us shortly. So, great. So, a quorum having been reached and the hour having come and gone, I'll call this meeting to order. That was the first order of business. Thank you all. Second order of business, Lee has provided us with 3 different sets of minutes. These are the minutes from our meetings on September 22nd, October 13th, and October 27th. I should say all of our meetings, through the wonders of technology, all of our meetings are taped and available streaming video on demand from Norwood Community Media. Thank you, NCM. So folks can dial up and watch those meetings to your heart's content, or you can just wait for the minutes to come out. So we do have 3 draft sets of minutes. It is a little bit, not quite bumpy, but it's a little bit complicated in that only the folks who were here on those meetings should be voting on those minutes. And I can read the roll call from those dates if it's helpful, but I'll entertain a motion on September 22nd's minutes.
Move we accept those minutes as presented for the September 22nd meeting.
Okay, thank you, Marguerite. Do I hear a second?
Sure. Second.
Thank you, Craig Austin. Thanks. Any comments, changes, edits, punctuation marks? No? Good. Okay, all those in favor of accepting the September 22nd, 2020 minutes, please say aye.
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 Good, good. Okay, we're
Aye.
good to go. Thank you.
Aye.
Rolling right along, October 13th is our next meeting, for which we have minutes. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the October 13th minutes.
So move.
Ms. Marguerite. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, that was Craig Austin. Thank you. Comments, edits? Having seen none, all those in favor of adopting, please say aye.
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 Kate, Craig, Patty,
Aye.
Jerry, Vic, Marguerite.
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I. All of you and I. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. The final set, October 27th, 2020. We have a draft set of minutes. We have a entertain a motion to accept.
So move.
So Margaret, 3 for 3. Second?
Second.
Second, Vic Babel, sorry, just beat out Craig Austin. Comments?
Now, I
edits,
do have
questions?
one comment,
Yes, Brian?
just one augmentation, I guess. On item E, talking about the Progress Norwood Walk, the Halloween, it was a costume walk.
Mhm.
I was trying to find in the minutes where it mentioned that wonderful thing you did where you showed some of the photos from the
Yeah.
event. You went through that during the meeting, and I was trying to find where that, I don't know if it took place at that point or later, but I can't find it in the minutes. So if we could had mention of your having showed photos.
Okay, we'll use that French word you used of augment. And, okay, any other
So with
comments?
that, I guess that would be me moving to augment the meetings or
Excellent.
friendly
Sounds-
amendment to the motion.
Sounds like a friendly amendment. Marguerite and Vic, you be willing to accept that friendly amendment?
Absolutely.
Accepted.
Good, thank you. Any other comments, questions?
I especially liked how you zoomed in on the dinosaur. That was,
Yeah, that
Yeah, the
was,
dinosaur was cool.
it might be the last time until the next time you see one. Okay, further comments? Just my
This
own,
is Pete. I'll reassure that will get added to that section and redistribute the version to through the chairman so that you can see that. But I believe you can go ahead and approve with that addition. Is that not correct?
yes, yes. Okay, great. One other little bit of food for thought. We're about to vote on that third set, but just some food for thought. If anyone thinks of either a different format or other content or anything to attach to those, folks can always watch the real thing taped. But if anybody has any thoughts on how to update the minutes in a different way, we're all ears. Okay, so we have a motion as amended to adopt the October 27th, 2020 meeting minutes as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Craig, Patty, Brian, Paula, Jerry, Marguerite, Vic. Okay, I think that's unanimous. Thank you, one and all. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, visitors looking around the table. I don't believe, well, I should say that. We do have Roy Nopel, the audience tonight, the audience. Roy, thank you for coming. Roy, among many other things, is on the Friends of Adams Farm committee. And he's
Thank you, Joe.
we like to think he's one of our biggest fans.
Definitely.
Okay, good. Welcome. Moving right along. Next item on the agenda, completed walks, events, trail news. Craig has, Craig and Patty have some news from a recent trip. I'll ask Craig to kick that off. You don't mind? I'm going to show some photos, and we will certainly bring this into the minutes when we do prepare those minutes. Craig,
Ready?
go
Okay.
for it.
Last week we went into the woods behind us. I did actually a couple days earlier, and on my walk around a loop, I noticed at the boulders there was some glass that was broken. A brown bottle that was broken on the boulder. Itself. So later, Patty and I walked through the park.
Can you
and-
tell the name of the park for everybody out there?
Well, sure, Hennessy Field, which is
Okay.
that picture showing is the Lennox is the Cross Street entrance, and there's another entrance at Lennox Avenue. But we started at the Cross Street entrance and walked around. The fall, as you can see, the oaks were in prime foliage at that point in time. And for the most part, the park is neat. There's some water bottles or beer cans here and there. Not terrible. There's another picture coming up later that shows a pair of Mylar balloons. And then there was a structure that we found as well. But the worst part was, in fact, at the boulder that one leg of the trail goes over, had not only a broken bottle, but also behind there was a bag hanging in a bush. And in that bag was a 6-pack of Coronas, all empty. And, you know, I have to say, I thank the people for at least not breaking those bottles. But could you please, when you're done with the bottles, take it with you and drop it off in one of the trash cans at either entrance? That would be appreciated. I didn't see the bag of Coronas.
That's
Other
on
than
the
that-
other, that's on the other email. Just bear with me for a second.
Okay. Otherwise, it was a nice warm day. We've, of course, have had a string of incredibly warm days, 70+ degrees. And that's, I think, helped to keep the foliage on the trees. It's unusual to be walking around in short sleeves.
There's one more day to take advantage of that. We were supposed to have rain. The forecast last week said it was raining by Wednesday, but tomorrow's supposed to be another one, maybe 75.
Yep.
A little bit more clouds than normal, but so we should take advantage of it for sure.
I think rains overnight, and then Thursdays, unsettled showers.
Got it. So we have one good day tomorrow.
Yep.
Right.
There we go. There's the glass.
Oh, bummer.
So that's, yeah, right there where we were working.
I'm gonna say we did a pretty good job of cleaning that out.
Yeah, I'm sure we didn't miss those.
Yeah.
There was a couple of, like I said, a beer bottles. There it is,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
just hanging there. Definitely a Corona. So if you know who drinks Coronas, we can narrow it down.
There's some beautiful photos. Well done.
Thank you.
It's like a virus. It's out
It's
there.
the trees.
Hanging in the tree.
It is a beautiful spot. Craig, it gets a lot of, Craig and Patty, it gets a lot of usage, right?
Oh, yeah.
We encountered a couple people walking dogs, dogs on leash. It was really nice.
Great.
Were there any
All right.
poop bags there?
Nope.
Wow,
No poop.
that's amazing.
No,
That's good.
yeah, no bags.
All right, great. And Craig did supply us with with another trail. I always say that, another trail report. Thank you very much. Good. Glad you guys got out. That's right in your backyard, so you pretty much own that spot.
No,
Anyone else have a recent trip they want to talk about? Lessons learned or anything?
I went to go to Shattuck Park with my dog, and of course couldn't find a parking space. So we went down to the Butterfly Garden, Alavisos Park, and it was a beautiful day. Same story with nice reflections. You know, pretty. I was surprised to see that they had finished a footing for the gazebo. It looks pretty good. And then after that, I decided to go down the other end of Endicott Street to see how things looked from back towards the park from the industrial area. And it was really very pretty. So by getting closed out of one area, I actually got to see something pretty spectacular in its own right.
Great. Good. Great. Anyone else recent trips?
Did
I have a
Job-
question for Marguerite on her visit. Marguerite, can you tell the general public where that is, Alavisos?
Sure, corner of Walpole Street, Route 1A, and Endicott Street. If you just go down Endicott Street, past the apartment building, there's a place where you can park. Alternatively, you can park in the shopping center parking area, walk down Walpole Street and go in the gate on the Walpole Street side. It's just opposite Ellis Pond area. Thanks for the suggestion.
Thank you.
I heard another voice. Is that Jerry? Vic?
Yeah, I did the Sunday. Jerry was along with me and Ernie and their respective wives and girlfriend. We did for the first time for them. I showed them Java's farm into the Walpole Town Forest, and they were very impressed with it. And then we myself and my friend went to the Aggie, did that, and that was very nice. And then today I spent the afternoon at Borderland, and that was beautiful there. And the trees are dropping leaves like rain right now today. Crazy. But it's, they're all good places, and they're all in very good condition, I thought.
Great. And Kate, I heard before we began, you were also at Borderland.
Yeah, I went to Borderland probably 2 weeks ago. This last weekend, I went just over to Dover, over Powesset and Nanette. I forget how to pronounce it exactly, but yeah, beautiful foliage right now.
Great.
It's no Annette.
No, what is it? How do you pronounce it?
No Annette.
No, Annette. Thank
Yep.
you. I will say it correctly next time. I haven't
that-
had, I've had no
Was
idea.
that Mrs. Peabody's farm?
Yeah, Miss Peabody's farm.
That's
Yeah.
where I used to go cross-country skiing all the time.
Oh, it's a beautiful place.
I did take a walk through the Saint Street lot a couple times actually this week. We'll talk about that later on in the agenda. I was not alone. One day I saw one deer, and the other next day I saw two deer running through. They were there first, and just walking through the Hawes Pond area. I walked through in the middle of that teeming snowstorm 2 weeks ago, and got some good pictures. And a week later, it was 70 degrees, and all the snow was gone, and most of the leaves are off the trees. So it's still very pretty over there. Great. So thank you. Next up, speaking of Saint Street, the cleanup at the Shattuck was October 31st, Halloween Day, which was snowed out, unfortunately. We did such a good job, you couldn't see any trash or any leaves, and we even blanketed the park with 3 inches of snow. So well done. We have also posted signs. Masha was going to talk about this upcoming weekend, Saturday afternoon, the 14th, from 1 to 3 p.m. Our next victim is the Saint Street lot at the end of St. John, St. Joseph, and St. Paul Avenues. We do have plans because of limited parking. We do plan to park and meet at the Hawes Pool area, and then walk across the street down St. Paul. We have posted both physically. Masha put up 3 or 4 different signs in South Norwood, and we have posted it onto Facebook and some social media. The town, I believe the town is going to link up with that post on the Town of Norwood website and Facebook page. That area has never, as far as I can tell, it's never been cleaned, and you can tell. So definitely, there's no water to speak of, so it'll be dry, especially after this week. But definitely wear long pants, long sleeves if you want. Tick control, bug spray. What else? Gloves, mask. We are subject to social distancing here, so we will try to. It's a 7-acre lot, so we will try to spread out, divide and conquer. So, anyone, Lee, did I leave anything off, or anyone gonna have any questions?
Just a general comment. This is Lee. I think you sort of implied, but didn't say it clearly. It'll be mostly people just picking up trash. We won't be doing any clearing of foliage or much raking. I don't anticipate. I think maybe a small hand rake just to paw the trash up. Joe, I don't know. You didn't say anything about broken glass. Have you ascertained as to the situation on that front?
Yeah, as I said, I did walk through it, and I actually did not notice any glass at all, which is good. I might be surprised, and we may have to call on our glass picking experts. But for the most part, there's small and large trash. After we finish the cleanup, the word has been passed through not only the local community, the South Norwood Committee and the groups down south here in South Norwood. So we hope to get a good amount of neighborhood participation. After we finish the cleanup, when the DPW has agreed to provide supplies and both recycling and trash receptacles.
Oh, great. Great. Thank you for arranging that.
We will take advantage of that. Thank you. And then after we finish the cleanup, if people are interested, we'll take a quick tour of the area and how it abuts and could provide access to Elliott Park and the lower Balch fields. So we can include that in the walk and talk at the same time. There was talk of rehydrating, I think, Lee, afterwards.
There'll be more to that for the people that show up, details on that. I'm not going to say much more at this meeting.
You don't want to.
But I will say one.
Sure.
And that is that I forgot my thought. One.
Okay, we'll put a place mark in that and we'll circle back when you're ready. Great, so that's our next trail cleanup, and with the weather.
Can I?
Sure, go ahead.
I remember now. The weather forecast for Saturday at this moment is for good weather, so we will be on at this point. No rain day. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's see, the next item on the agenda, the PTA, discuss PTA presentations. Kate, do you want to talk about that a little bit, or do you want to defer that?
Yeah, no, we can talk about that. So I apologize that it's taken me a little bit. I've had a very busy couple weeks. So just connecting on trying to follow up right now to finalize and make sure that we're ready to send out that email to folks. So I have the presentation from the previous library presentation. We're going to edit that together, just kind of trying to cut down the most relevant pieces. And each school is obviously, we're going to highlight different trails. So we're trying to highlight the trails that are closest to each of the schools, maybe the closest one and then maybe a second. So the presentation will include all the trails, I think, and then people can kind of narrow down and just pick to cover the trails that are closest. That way we don't have to try and make, like 7 or 8 different presentations and worry about getting the right one to the right person. Then also putting together a little kind of outline for what people can talk about, and obviously tailor that, any content to your experiences on the trails, your experiences in the town of Norwood, connecting to the PTA, if you're familiar with that group, or with that school, if you had kids that went there, or if you went there. I'm learning in Norwood that people live here for a long time, so they maybe have a connection to the schools. And so I'm putting together those materials, and then I'm going to send out the spreadsheet, which is for a sign up. So if there's a blank spot next to one of the schools and you have time, I don't think it should take very long. It's probably a 20-30 minute presentation max to one of the PTOs. And so it's just a matter of, I've got the contact information for all the PTOs. So I'll send, if you sign up for a school, I'll send you all the information that you're going to need, and you can reach out and schedule the time with that PTO specific. That way it's kind of a matter of what works best for you. Okay, so I will be sending that out to the group shortly, but I need Joe to sign off on the presentation cut down. So give me just a little bit of time, but we should be in good shape.
What time frame is it?
Yeah, in terms of how soon we'd like people to connect with the PTOs, is that what you're referencing?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not when the actual the actual time that would be doing the talks.
Each of the PTO meetings is at a different time. So some of them meet one or two of them actually meets the like the second Tuesday of the month or something like that. A couple of them overlapped our meetings.
But
So
are you talking January or February or March or?
Yeah, I think, that's something that we can all talk about is in terms of the relatability in terms of the weather. Like, I think that the weather right now is really good, but we're heading into some stormy patches. And so I don't know how much people will be on the trails in February, March because of the snow. Farmer's Almanac says it's going to be a bad year this year, I think. So trying to figure out, maybe if we get the materials together and folks decide that it would be best to do this in April or March so that they know about the trails and it's a reminder to get back out on the trails for the spring. So we can
Okay.
we can definitely talk about in terms of when we want to connect and have people, kind of that reminder to get them back out.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll look for that. And as Kate said, the more the merrier. If we want to gang up and visit some of the, and Kate, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the PTO meetings are virtual and some are physical.
Yeah, I
in
think I'm
person?
getting the impression that a lot of them are in person, but I'm not entirely sure if they also have virtual elements or one or two may be virtual. The reality is that because the students are in person, it's very much a matter of the parents want to make sure that they're in person as well. So it would be counterproductive, I think, for the kids to have to go to school, but the parents and everyone else to be meeting virtually in a safer manner. So I think they're trying really hard to meet in person in the cafeterias and the libraries and things like that where they can spread out.
How many people in each of those approximately?
How many people are in each of the PTOs or how many people would we?
Yeah, approximately.
That's a good question. I think each of the PTOs varies a lot. And particularly right now with the pandemic, I don't know how many people are going. So that's definitely something we can ask whoever the PTO contact is and say, how many people came to your last meeting? How many people do you anticipate coming to the next? And I'd really like to know in terms of reach, because if, for example, if they don't record their meetings or they don't share their minutes or they, and it's just 5 people in the cafeteria, that's not really the reach that we're looking for. We want to present to as many people as we could in that school. And so Joe had mentioned, you mentioned the idea of printing maps and having those available in the
Right.
in entryways. And maybe that would be a really good way to get the outreach out. So we can definitely brainstorm, but I'd like there to be more than 5 parents there, just so that it's worth our time. And the whole point is to drive traffic to the trails. So it may be that once we get a vaccine and there are more people who feel comfortable being together in the PTO setting meeting, then it might make more sense, so we can play it by ear, but I'll get the materials ready, definitely.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Everybody thinks we know this, but everybody else on the planet thinks the winter is a good time not to go onto the trails. When in fact, a lot of us think it's the best time to go onto the trails because you've got the winter if you're a cross country skier or a snowshoer or anything, and it's a great time to go out and see some of the winter critters that have not hibernated. So
and it's not too crowded.
And it's not too crowded, absolutely. So those are the kind of things, even though it is the winter, we want to try to foster people to get out there, maybe especially because it is the winter. And if we're going to a fully remote school situation, which that might occur, families, we saw a cycle back in the April-May timeframe when people were excited to be out into the open space, and they were following us because this provided a great opportunity for them to get out of the house. So too, February, March might be a perfect time for that again. So no, that's great. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, I'll be asking for snowshoes for the holiday season. So I agree entirely on the winter. I know other people maybe don't love going out, but I agree with you entirely that with the pandemic last spring, everyone was trying to flock to get outside regardless of what the weather was. So I agree with you.
Okay, all right, great. Speaking of snowshoes, show of hands, who has snowshoes? I think we did this once before, but anybody have snowshoes? Okay, okay. All right, good. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, the Boy Scout Eagle projects. Basically, that's still ongoing. I may actually take it off the agenda. Two of the scouts have projects planned that they're going to tackle over the winter. One of the scouts is actually, he hasn't opened it yet, but he's creating a GoFundMe page to try to fund some of the fund the purchase of some of the materials he's going to use to put up. This is let's see, Ryan Larson is going to use GoFundMe to fund some of the materials to build his kiosks. So that might be an event later on in the winter, so we'll circle back to that. We're certainly open to people coming forward and volunteering. Volunteering is, you're looking at 10 or so avid volunteers right now. So you're always welcome. We actually got, I think 4 or 5 people emailed the trails email address asking when the next cleanup is. So we're certainly excited to hear that. So next item on the list, the agenda, the Community Preservation Fund projects. We did review those last meeting, and you all voted unanimously in favor, so thank you. Lee did put, as was recommended, I think possibly by Marguerite, I think, and certainly with Marguerite's help, Lee put together a great advocacy letter, which he sent me, and I apologize, I forgot to send it around to the group, but I will circulate that after the meeting. That letter, Lee, you want to just briefly talk about that?
Oh, yeah, it's went out yesterday, and also I put a hard copy in the mailbox of the CPC at Town Hall. It's very straightforward. Just said, you know, we on the 3 proposals, and then some background with it, and you know, when Joe gets around to it, then he'll send it out to you. It was 1 page, and it was I thought it came out pretty well. Certainly, I wanted to thank Marguerite for her perusing and editorial comments. You were very helpful, Marguerite. Thank you.
Thank you. You had a good base to work from there, Lee. You did well. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Thank you both. When Joe gets around to it, he'll also send a similar letter that the NOAA Conservation Commission also wrote. They voted in unanimous favor of those 3 projects as well.
Oh, good.
So that letter was sent likewise to the Peter McFarland is the chair of the Community Preservation Committee. We had also kind of in parallel to our meeting tonight, the Board of Selectmen, the Selectmen are meeting, and on their agenda is a review of those 3 projects. They likewise were invited to not only weigh in on the projects, but a couple of them, because of the property that the project is proposed for, we actually need to get their review and approval. So they're in the process right now of reviewing those. We sent those 2 letters over to them as well to supplement the actual projects. Just two other points there. I think I had mentioned it, but there is a chance that the work at the Hawes Pool, converting that over or upgrading that to make it more mobility friendly, there is a chance that there is other grant money available. So Tony Mizuko and a couple of folks at Town Hall are trying to figure out the best source of funds for that project, which is a great sign, because it means we're beyond just the project itself. Now we're trying to figure out where to get the money for it. And then likewise, the feasibility study for the University Ave project. There is a chance that the planning department, Paul Halkiotis and Pat DeShanes and Holly Jones from the Conservation Commission will apply for what they call a mass trails grant from the state. So that likewise, that's a good sign, and we'll try to figure out where the money's coming from, but so far so good. It seems to be moving forward. So thanks for everybody's contribution to the effort. And we'll certainly circle back on those as progress is made.
Joe, just
Yeah.
Joe,
sure.
going back to the University Avenue proposal, just for clarification to the community also, that Mass Trails grant, would that be the construction phase, whereas our grant would be the design phase?
It's early right now. The project proposal so far is only the feasibility and initial design of a trail. So, and because it's Conservation Commission property, we actually have to travel in compliance. We have to progress in compliance with their requirements. That includes a few permits, permit applications. It's also part, Marguerite and Craig and Patty would be familiar with this especially, but everybody might know that is also in the Fowl Meadow, what they call an ACEC. It's an area of critical environmental something that starts with a C.
Concern?
Concern, thank you. Area of critical environmental concern, thank you. So there are several steps required after the feasibility study, or maybe as part of it. But Lee, to answer your question, the consideration right now is that it would only be the feasibility study. Okay. Next up on the agenda, Marcia had proposed what was labeled as a Pets on the Trail walk. I did circulate it. Marcia has texted me, and she's probably not going to be able to join us, but I'm just going to read this draft verbiage that she'd put together, and then we'll just table this for our next meeting. And this would be, and I did circulate this to the group. It says, the Norwood Trails Advisory Committee is proposing a walk with your dog. I'm not sure if it's only dogs, but that's where it's headed. We encourage dog owners to leash up and join us on one of our trails. The first walk will be on blank, fill in the date. The trail, excuse me, on the trail between the Willett School and Father Max Park. We'll meet at the Willett School on such and such. The goal is to show off our trails and assure the community that with our pooches at our sides, our dogs can be welcome guests on our trails as well. The walk will include safe social distancing, and dog owners will hopefully experience a new trail to walk with their dogs. The walk is hosted by the Trails Advisory Committee member Masha Mata, as certified vet tech, professional pet caretaker, and founder of a local cat rescue. Participants are welcome to pick her brain. The goal is to introduce walking options to dog owners while being great trail companions with the entire Norwood community. And so that's, you all have that. We'll circle back at our next meeting. Pets and pet owners are certainly part of our community, and as this evolves, it's certainly up to the group as far as how to structure this, if at all, and how to present it to the community if that's our wish. So bring any idea. Any idea is a good idea. So within reason.
One suggestion on that is to include the words "pets on leash." Dogs
I
on
think
leash.
you did say it, yeah.
Did you say on leash? I missed that.
We encourage dog owners to leash up and join us.
Good.
I'm
Excellent.
I'm assuming that means leashing the pet, not the owner.
Actually, it doesn't make much sense just to leash the pet. The owner has to be attached to the other end.
Preferably, yes. Good point. We'll send that back to the verbiage department. But you know, it's certainly an option, and we all, you know, no matter where we go, someone mentioned it actually tonight in our meeting, but wherever you go, there are dog walkers. So the more acclimated they are and other walker friendly, the better. So
Can I mention one thing?
yeah, please, Roy.
So Mass Audubon and the trustees of reservations do not, I believe they do not allow dogs. So for Norwood to welcome dogs to dog owners, that's a wonderful thing for everyone's health, including the pet. At Adams Farm, dogs have been an issue, but we remain steadfast that owners will be responsible and leash their pets.
Which they
But
don't.
Yeah, so I hope it all works out well.
The town
Trustees
of Norwood.
allow. Go ahead.
Sorry, Marguerite. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say the trustees allow dogs in certain areas on leash. Rocky Woods is the only one of the trustees' properties I know of that allows dogs in certain designated off-leash areas.
We do need to comply with the town of Norwood bylaw as far as dogs either on leash or within, how does it go? Within voice control of their owners, I believe is the way it's worded. That's debatable, having seen some folks with off-leash pets. So that's more to follow on that on our next meeting. We'll just table that if that's all right. Next item on the agenda, the excuse me, the one of the town meeting articles. I also circulated a map, but Marguerite, what do you think about this?
I think that I've been studying this thing, frankly, all afternoon and most of the evening, and it was like a puzzle that there were several pieces missing of the information. I'm not a town meeting member. I don't want to be a town meeting member, and I don't know really a lot about it. The genesis of this was some things that Judith Howard started questioning about the new overlay district on the northbound side of Route 1 in the Ellis Ave, University Ave, and whatever the other one is down there area. And you know, it's a good idea in a lot of ways. The primary concern is the possible use of or misuse of town land for things like storage of unlicensed cars by various businesses in the area. It's a huge proposal and a very forward-looking proposal, and this is just one very small piece of it, but it's an important piece because it includes the areas off of Everett Street that are, hey, I remembered it, off of that area that we have now in the town as conservation land. They're trying to make sure that it doesn't get sold off piecemeal and that it retains an appropriate use. There are several potential trails marked on the various maps, and they look pretty promising. So some of you will remember Judith came to talk with us about a year ago about a completely different but similarly threatened area. So that's what I am asked that we defer this item until we get some more information, because I can't make a coherent presentation without having all of those bits and pieces. Do I need to make a motion that we defer
If you'd so like.
I don't feel like it one way or the other.
Okay. Why don't we do that, and I'll accept a motion to keep this on the agenda but table it till next meeting.
Yes, or a future
Second.
meeting, I would say.
Okay. Okay, good. Marguerite, motion, and I think that was Vic, second?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, unanimous.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you much.
Lee? make sure that it says table to a future meeting, not necessarily to our next meeting. Because the issues that Judith has raised in her emails may get resolved or may not get resolved, and we don't know yet what the story is, so it may take a little while to get those issues worked out.
I
actually
got it,
did have a
Marguerite.
question.
Thank
Good. Thank you both. Brian, was that a?
Yeah, is this anything that we need to discuss before town meeting? I'm wondering, do
Yeah.
we want to have input at all?
I think town meeting actually occurred. The one where it was brought up actually seems to have occurred in late October.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
got
the
it.
actually town meeting starts this week on the 12th of November. But
Right.
because of COVID, they're skinnying down the agenda to 3 financial articles only. So this whole Route 1 reconfiguration and rezoning and several other articles have been pushed out to probably February-ish.
Okay,
So this topic, Marguerite, in her clairvoyance, has correctly identified the fact that it's a future meeting probably to coincide with that town meeting. So
great. Thank you.
Got it. Yeah, I guess I'm behind a little. The last I'd heard, they were doing the 2 town meetings simultaneously. So
yep, one byproduct of this, if I can just talk about that map I did circulate, I was pleasantly surprised seeing this maybe for the first time as to how much land the town actually owns in that northern Route 1 area. The whole stride in, I guess I knew it, but I never really took a minute to think about it. But that whole stretch really that goes from Route 1 all the way down to where was it National Amusements, just before the skating club, that office building that's set back off University Ave. So, that I was thinking that, I don't know why, but I was thinking that there were more private land ownership along the way, and it would be more choppy for us to try to put together one long trail. But I am pleasantly surprised at this. And as I told Judith, now the only thing we need to work on is a footbridge that goes over Route 1. So, okay, good. Thank you, Marguerite. The next item on our agenda is the members' minute section. I'm going to ask Lee to kick that off.
Oh, am I up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very quickly, just to remind everybody and the public as well that this past week I had some interactions with people in the community, and one of their primary concerns is the availability of map materials and knowing, just getting the information out there. So I think that's very critical for all members to be aware of that. We need to just make sure that whoever we interface to in the community, that maps are available online. If you go to trails@norwoodma.com, that you can also, that's the email address, but if you just type in Google to Norwood Trails, that should take you to the town website, and you can click in and get maps downloaded from there. But more importantly, to come, Joe had mentioned the fact that we have a couple people working on kiosks, and I think it will be very important that we integrate some sort of map distribution on kiosks, just for food for thought. We don't need to discuss that now. The other thing I would like to ask Joe to add to either the next agenda or the agenda after that is an item for planning a New Year's Day walk, and that's my minute.
Okay, then. Good. I'll ask, just going to kind of go around the horn. So And then Lee, there was one other thing that you talked about just to kind of set the tone, but we also spoke about using, if people can give this some thought, using the members minute section as opposed to something that kind of spur the moment, that spurs a possibly long discussion. What Marguerite did at our last meeting was she threw out an idea, briefly described the idea, and asked that it be put on the next agenda. So that's a good way to, rather than we're all really good ad hoc speakers and extemporaneous thinkers, but it's a good way for us, if there is any kind of research required or anything, if we add it to the next agenda, that might be a good way for us to make it a more efficient and productive discussion the next time around. So that's just I'm not sure if that was my minute or not, but kind of go around the horn here. If anybody has a brief update they want to provide, Brian Palmetier.
No, actually, I'll probably defer mine. I have some pictures I want to send to you, and maybe by the next meeting I can talk, have those, show
Okay.
some of the stuff that I looked at.
Okay, one quick thing, and I'm probably more guilty than anybody else, but I would ask if people are going to submit, whether it's photos or topics or things, just do us a favor and go through the photos, if that's what they are, and just kind of pare them down and present something that's kind of the Reader's Digest version of a trip or a visit or whatever. Just to give people a kind of their, cut to the chase and get to the point. It's great having pictures, Brian's, Craig's, those are great. The more the better, but let's go bang for the buck here. But that's great. Thanks, Brian.
Well, that's part of the reason I sent them to you, figuring you'd do the selecting, but you want me to be the selecting ahead of time. So.
You want me to chew gum at the same time, don't you? Thank you, though.
Good.
Jerry Miller?
Joe, just in reference to the Eagle Scout project and the GoFundMe program he's going to be putting forward, is it possible that you could have a rendering of what he's doing and make that public, to put it on the website or anything like that? So there might be somebody out there that has the ability not only to help them physically, but also maybe I said, well, we already got this here, I got the material, so it might help him in his project.
Okay, all right, sure. No, that's a good idea. He was, I got the feeling, and I think he did, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he did actually join us for one of our meetings, so back over the summer maybe. But he was excited about the kiosk project, but he was equally excited about the GoFundMe page. So I don't know. I think he's a future fundraiser of America, but that is a good point, Jerry. We should hang that up and make that visible for our community as well. So good idea.
One more thing, Joe, while I have the floor. I know where everybody's COVID conscious, but I love having social distance full meetings instead of going into these little boxes. These things drive me nuts. Just what my opinion.
Okay. Well, we could certainly meet. Each one of us could grab some space around one of the Hawes ponds, and we could yell across the pond at each other.
No, the senior center, since Vic and I were up there helping out delivering, they have offered their big room anytime we want till 10 o'clock at night. So they have a custodian there, so the facility is available. You could probably put in 50 to 60 people in the size of that big room and still be socially distanced. So they have offered that facility. So if we want to do that, that's something to look at.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks. I'll run that by the Board of Health is driving a lot of the things that go on in town hall. So let me ask if that's possible. Thank you. Good to see you, and good luck in your efforts. You're running the food bank again
It's just, we're doing it once a month for the next couple of months, just as a supplement what's being taken in from the actual food bank. Apparently, but when the town makes a little notification and gets it out there, we actually, we did it last week. We had a real good turnout. We had a lot of food come in.
Okay, great. And when's the next distribution date?
We don't distribute. That's one of the things. We collect. It takes his share, I take my share, and we no, we actually we go down. Geez, when I realize it's on TV.
Jerry,
so-
that was a secret.
Yeah.
Now everybody
no.
knows it.
No, we actually store it, and the food bank from Chapel Street, they come up and they take what they need to supplement what they have on their stock.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you. I was trying to give you a shameless plug.
I know,
And,
and I threw us
yeah.
right under the bus.
okay, thank you, Jerry. Vic Babel?
Well, my thought is, in this Zoom era, and I didn't talk to Jerry on this at all, but would it be better to only meet once every 3 weeks or even 4 weeks rather than every other week? Especially, after last week, and I guess that was a tough one because it went so long. And plus my daughter was here and, I didn't get to see her that night. But I started to think, is it necessary every other week in this format? The meetings are tough. Boy, did that quiet everybody down.
Tell you what, if I can take,
Especially
Sorry.
when you have 3 in one day.
yeah.
Yeah.
How about, that's kind of a large topic. How about if we actually put that on the agenda for next meeting?
Okay.
And we can certainly,
Oh,
if
Jerry gave me a thumbs up.
it's up to the group if we could do that over
Yeah,
the
I
course of the winter or whatever you'd like. So good idea. Good, thank you. Let's see, Craig?
Nothing outstanding. Just wanted to just add a astronomy note that look to the southeast. Mars is particularly bright right now. Mars is kind of a red orange. Well, it's a planet, but it's a very steady star, and it's quite brilliant right now. And Jupiter and Saturn are still in the sky in the southwest, so you can still see them.
And do you have a favorite place where you would go to look at these stars?
My street, my backyard,
Really?
Sun-
and when we're walking in the evening. Now the evenings are dark, so those are some of the things I do look for while I'm walking down the street. But certainly, if you want an unencumbered view, you can go to Mount Norwood. Probably not at night though. And Dean might be a good place.
Okay, good. Somewhere where there's not a lot of light pollution.
It's really there. It's
Yeah.
more of just keeping. For planets, it's really having the availability of the sky. Light pollution really doesn't affect planets seeing the planets that much.
Okay. I actually went out to the lower field at Endine, which is at the far end away from the school. It's on the Blue Trail, I think. But I was out there a couple of weeks ago catching the show from an astronomy standpoint, and I used to go on to Father Mack's field, the soccer field. Those likewise have a wide open sky. So good, thank you. Patty?
Not too much, just checked out that morning and it was lovely.
Checked out, I'm sorry, I lost you. Checked out what?
Got it. Walked
Got it.
through there this morning
Okay,
on my
great.
route.
okay. All right, great. Kate?
I don't think I have anything for this week, just working on the PTA materials, trying to get those put together, but otherwise, yeah, I think I'm set.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks. Agreed.
I think I've had several meeting minutes already, so member minutes already. That's
Okay.
about it.
Joe, can I squeeze in?
Absolutely.
And of course, I hope it's okay with Vic.
No, it isn't.
I'll try not to lose my thought here. So to add to Lee's comment about January 1st walk, I know Gary and Glenn over at our good cousin town Walpole plan on a walk that is really well attended. And I think it might be in part due to chocolate chips and hot chocolate with a little bonfire. But if I could please ask your committee's schedule check, because it'd be nice to ideally, for example, have a Norwood walk first and then allow time for those interested to drive over to the Walpole walk or vice versa. So thank you for hearing that neighborly request.
Thank you. Good thought. It's right.
Sure,
And lastly,
that was Roy Nopel. Yes, sir.
thank you. Lastly, the Friends of Adams Farm have secured a well-known naturalist to give 3 walks this coming year. And I have the schedule of that, and I'd be honored to share it with you and your committee should you wish to invite folks from Norwood to learn about owls on a walk. Another walk is going to be on mushrooms. Another walk will be about butterflies.
Sure. And
Yeah,
if,
definitely.
and if one wanted to know when those were to take place, Roy, how would one find out?
Oh, I'd be happy to email you the 3 dates.
And then we can publicize it.
And Joe, this meeting has been run superbly. I got to tell you.
Thank you. So that means you got that $20 bill I sent you?
And he paid it too.
Yeah, that's great.
Roy, over and
Oh,
out.
is that already posted online somewhere?
Thank you all. Yeah, Brian. So we will get those dates, and we'll be happy to share them somehow, somewhere. We
I
can
was just wondering if Adams Farm had them posted somewhere so the general
I see.
public can look them up.
And what about Moose
actually-
Hill? How do we get it? You know, that they have so many activities there. How do we share that with the Norwood people, as well as Adams Farm? Even though it's not Norwood, it's close enough.
Yep. So Roy, can you answer Brian's question first, please?
Oh yeah, I'd be delighted to. Although, the thing about Moose Hill is we do have a contact there, a naturalist, as well as the manager. So I'd be more than happy to reach out to them and circle back with you, Joe. And forgive me, what was the other question for me?
How does Adams Farm advertise upcoming events?
Oh, let's see. The Friends of Adams Farm has a website. It's long overdue to be completely redone. As a matter of fact, technically it has to be redone. So we can all look forward to that, I feel, in the next 2 months. But we also have a Facebook page of which I do my humble best to publicize information. The thing about the 3 events, we have the application into the town, but it has not been yet approved. So those dates are tentative, but the esteemed volunteer naturalist has committed to the date. So I think it's just a matter of dotting the I and crossing the T.
Okay, great.
And when that happens, I'll post in those 2 places as well as circle back with you, Bill.
Okay, great. Thanks, Roy.
I'm listening to an owl right now. I'm listening to an owl right out my yard right now.
Nice. That makes you the naturalist du jour.
Yeah.
Daddy Austin?
The coyote's gonna get him.
Well, who is the naturalist that's leading the walks? I'm just curious.
Roy, do you know that?
I don't have his name handy, but I could assure you, you'll be really pleased. He's co-authored a book with Mass Audubon. So not to overuse my minute here that Joe has graciously given this esteemed guest, but you know what I'll do, if it's okay with you, Joe, I could add it to the next agenda or another one down the road.
If you have, maybe if you had a flyer that somehow identifies name, rank, and serial number and who, where, all the W's,
Oh, I do.
And-
I do.
then we'll be happy to share that.
Oh, wonderful.
Great. So I just had a couple under the upcoming events. So November 14th, we talked about Saint Street. We're going to meet at 1 o'clock at the Hawes Pool area. We should be thinking maybe at our next meeting, we can decide not only how frequently we meet, but if we want to have a December walk. And a New Year's walk. We fully agree last year. Last year, Lee and I, and maybe you, Roy, but I think, and I can't remember, Vic, if you did this as well, but we started New Year's Day in Walpole and we walked Jarvis Farm with the Walpole Trails group. And they did have chocolate chips and coffee and a bonfire. And then we skedaddled over to University Ave to the Norwood Trails walk as well. So yeah, if we could structure that in such a way that people can double dip, that would be great. To pick up where you left off on the Walpole Trails New Year's Day walk, hopefully this I don't get in trouble for actually announcing this, but they are strongly leaning towards a walk at the Norfolk Aggie, the area behind the Norfolk Aggie School. I was actually there on Sunday. I had never been there before, and I was amazed at how big the school property is.
Oh my God.
But it was a really nice walk. It's all flat. It's farmland. It was really pretty. They had a couple of spots where there are small footbridges over the water, and it's directly behind the school. And there have been a couple of posts on the Norwood Facebook groups about the path and how to get there, and etc. So that's recommended. The
Joe?
others, yes, yeah, Brian.
I don't know if this is a timely thing. Didn't I just read something in the paper about how they're looking to put a solar farm over there?
Mm-hmm. And
At
we'll
the Aggie,
wipe
and
out
so-
the Aggie woods. Yep.
So I didn't know if that's something we'd want to somehow have input on, because it would mean that a lot of that would be deforested.
Mhm.
Right.
And I think that would be a shame, but
Yeah, I'm going to blame Brian for this, but I won't call this part of my minute. But so there is a hearing. The Norfolk County Commissioners are entertaining a proposal by a solar management company, I guess, solar array management company. Kearsarge is the name of it. Some of you might recognize that name. So basically, the proposal is to put solar panels on 25 acres of land that's owned by the county, and it's shared by since the county owns the Aggie school, I think 7 acres, and don't quote me on the numbers, but I think 7 acres are in this area behind the Aggie school, and it would take away part of that trail that I just mentioned.
Mhm.
But then the other 18 or so acres are up at the other end of North Street behind the Bubbling Brook ice cream shop. So anybody who's driven up North Street, before you get to Bubbling Brook on the left-hand side, there's a big farm with a white fence along the street. So a good 18 acres of that property will be turned into a solar array if they get their way. So the hearing is November 19th. And there are a number of people that have registered to attend that meeting. It's a Norfolk County Commissioner meeting.
Good.
So I can email details. I did not do that. I'm not trying to advocate for or against it, but I will email the details. And if the community wants to email us looking for info, our email address, as Lee said, is trails@norwoodma.gov, G-O-V. And the only other thing, so thanks for bringing that up, Brian. The only thing I also wanted to mention is just a shout out to Fran and Dick Rush. Fran Rush has some family health, not her own and not Dick's, but family health issues that she's going through, and I wish her well in that endeavor. So, so that's all I had.
Joe, can I mention something real quick?
Sure, Roy.
On Facebook, there's a group called Walpole Preservation Alliance, and I find they're a group of neighbors that are extremely organized about the solar array, and I recommend it for viewing. And one can make up their own mind, but I view them as a very sound-based group. And thank you.
And I'm sorry, just to repeat, what's the name of the group?
Oh, they're called Walpole Preservation Alliance.
Reservation Alliance. Okay. All right.
Yep. Thank
If
you.
you drive down North Street and you look on the, I guess that's the south side, west side, you'll see signs sprouting up about the save the Aggie Woods, save North Street.
Good. Good. Well, I thank you all. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, November 24th at 7 o'clock. We have tabled a couple of things tonight, so we'll add those to the agenda. If anybody has anything else to add to the agenda, just get in touch with me. We do have an event this Saturday, November 14th at the St. Street lots, 1 to 3 p.m. So if you can't make that, we'll have other opportunities to help clean the town. So unless anybody has anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor, Kate Smith?
Aye.
Marguerite?
Aye.
Aye. Greg? Patty Austin? 2 ayes. Brian Palmetier?
Aye.
Jerry Miller?
Aye.
Vic Babel?
Aye.
Lee Leach?
Aye.
And the chair, aye, likewise. And Roy Nopel, our visiting audience?
Thank you so much.
He had the longest
Okay,
minute.
good. Okay. It's unanimous. We're adjourned, and thank you all for coming. Thank you all. Thanks. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a great week.
I know.